So you're thinking about taking your very first cruise. But wow, looking at all the options feels a little overwhelming, right? Well, you are in exactly the right place. We are going to break down the entire world of cruising, from picking that perfect ship to stepping on board for the very first time. So what is the big deal with cruising anyway? Well, get this. The community over at Cruise Critic did the math, and it turns out cruise vacations have a 94% satisfaction rate. To give you some perspective, that is higher than chocolate. Yeah, you heard me right. It's an experience people just fall in love with, and we're about to find out why. But okay, let's be real for a second. The number of choices out there is just staggering. You've got these giant ships, tiny ships, ships for families, party ships. It's a lot. So the big question is, where do you even begin? Well, let's start with what makes this kind of trip so special in the first place. First, let's get right to the heart of it. Why are so many people absolutely obsessed with cruising? Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a floating resort that also happens to take you on an incredible adventure. And the magic of it really boils down to a few amazing things. Think about it. You unpack your suitcase just one time, but you get to wake up in a new, amazing place almost every single day. Most of your meals and some truly world-class entertainment are already included in the price. Plus, there's this really cool sense of community you get on board. You're all on this shared adventure together, and it's a genuine break from the grind of daily life. But here is the single most important thing to understand. Cruising is definitely not a one-size-fits-all kind of vacation. Finding the right ship is all about matching it to your personality. And to do that, we can kind of break all the options down into three main styles. We can really sort the giant ocean cruise market into three main buckets. First, you have the mega ships. These things are basically floating the cities, just packed with action, activities, and thousands of other people. Then you've got the upper premium ships, which are a fantastic middle ground, a little smaller, with a big focus on amazing food and service. And finally, you have the luxury small ships, which offer these really intimate, usually all-inclusive trips with just the best service you can imagine. And seeing the two extremes side by side like this makes it so clear. A mega ship, that's basically Las Vegas at sea. It's high energy, you've got 3, 4, even 7,000 plus guests, water slides, Broadway shows, and you pay for extras as you go, a la carte. A luxury small ship is the total opposite. The vibe is country club casual with just a few hundred guests. The activities are more like lectures and gourmet dining, and it's all inclusive. You can probably already feel which one you're leaning towards. And this chart just brilliantly illustrates the difference in service. On a mega ship, you'll have about one crew member for every 3.5 guests. But on a luxury ship, that ratio drops to almost 1-to-1. So what does that actually mean for you? Well, it's the difference between great service and the kind of personal attention where the staff knows your name and your favorite drink by day 2. Okay, this is probably one of the biggest questions every first-timer has. What am I actually paying for up front? Understanding your cruise fare is totally key to setting a good budget and, avoiding any unwanted surprises later. So the great news is, your base fare covers a ton of stuff. We're talking your cabin, of course, all your meals in the main dining rooms and the buffets, and access to tons of onboard activities like pools, rock climbing walls, you name it. Plus incredible entertainment, awesome kids clubs, and the gym. It's a huge amount of value packed right in. But it's just as important to know what's usually not included. Things like alcoholic drinks and sodas, those specialty restaurants that offer a more high-end experience, Wi-Fi, tours you take in port, the daily tips for the amazing crew, and spa treatments. Those are typically extra. Budgeting for these in advance is a total pro move. All right, now that you've got the basics down, let's get into the good stuff. These are the pro tips that will have you walking around your first cruise like you've been doing it for years. Ready to sidestep some of the most common rookie mistakes? Of course you are. Let's start with a big one that people often don't think about until it's way too late. Pro tip number 1, where your cabin is located on the ship can make a huge difference in your experience. And I'm not just talking about the view, it's also about sound and even how much you feel the ship move. And hey, don't just take it from me. Here's a golden piece of advice from a veteran cruiser on Cruise Critic named Big Al. He says, I avoid the deck under the pools area like the plague. And why? Because you might hear the crew dragging lounge chairs around at 6 in the morning. A great rule of thumb is to pick a cabin that has other cabins both above and below you. That's your quiet zone. Okay, pro tip number 2, and honestly, this one is non-negotiable for a stress-free trip. Always, always, always fly into your port city the day before your cruise is scheduled to leave. Think of this as your ultimate vacation insurance policy. It just erases the stress of a possible flight delay or cancellation. It prevents the absolute nightmare scenario of watching your ship sail away without you. You get to start your vacation feeling relaxed instead of totally frantic. Okay, the big day is here. Let's do a quick walkthrough of what your very first day, embarkation day, is going to look like. It's actually a surprisingly smooth and really exciting process. The whole process is super simple. You'll do most of the check-in online before you even leave the house. Then, when you get to the port at your assigned time, you'll just hand off your big, tagged suitcases to the porters. They'll deliver them right to your room. After a quick security check, you board the ship. Your room might not be ready for an hour or so, which is actually the perfect excuse to go grab some lunch and start exploring your incredible floating resort. And there you have it. You've gone from wondering where to even start to understanding cruise styles, budgets, and all the pro tips you need for a perfect first trip. We've unpacked the whole world of cruising. So now, the only real question left is, where is your first voyage going to take you?
Ready for a travel experience that's truly elevated? Reach out to Siobhan at wanderkeep.com or just scan the QR code and let's start planning your next unforgettable journey, because your journey deserves to be elevated.